Hi, this is Becky and Christian. We are driving home from Maine, where we saw a bunch of lighthouses, including the Portland Headlight, which author Taryn Plume describes as a dangerous beauty. And we've been listening to a story of a sighting of a ship, which turned out not to be a ship because it actually had sunk 130 years before. And this is the story of that ship. It's called The Dash. It is a book that Talon bought for me. Haunted Maine Lighthouses. I used to always read to my kids as we drove, and today I figured I would read to you because it's kind of fun and interesting. So we are on page 3 of chapter 1, and I'm just going to read little excerpts of it. Be sure to pick up the book if it's one that interests you, or if you are heading to Maine, because it's a lot of fun. So, sailing into history. One of the most legendary stories involves the Dash. It was built, as her name would suggest, for speed in 1813 during America's de facto second revolution. The Freeport-based merchant brothers, Seawald and Samuel Porter, had her crafted especially for smuggling and eluding. She was very quickly developed a reputation for both. On her first maiden run out of Portland to San Domingo, in fact, she crossed courses with an established British brig, but easily outraced it. Upon her return, her owners were given permission by President James Madison to hunt British ships as a privateer. A bonus being that she could keep all the spoils. And this she did, in all capturing 15 ships without losing a single crew member. Until her last fateful voyage in 1815. She was setting sail from Portland, Maine. She was met by a new privateer to local waters, known as the Champlain, and based out of Portsmouth, New Hampshire. The cocky captain wanted to race. The Dash's captain, 24-year-old John Porter, was not one to shirk away from such a challenge, and as the two set out, they were briefly bow to bow. Or bow to bow? You can tell. I'm reading words that aren't familiar. Okay, let's go on. So, they're on this race. They were last seen passing the Portland Headlight. That's the lighthouse that we toured on Saturday. And the Dash was easily taking the lead. However, a tempest soon blew in, and the Champlain lost sight of its rival before it turned back to port. And that is where the earthly manifestation of the Dash sails out of this story, leaving not a trace, no sign of her crew, cargo, or even a scrap of wreckage. She simply disappeared. Some say she was cursed at her captain in his haughtiness, not heeding the telltale signs of ill tidings, such as misfiring weapons and bluebirds, said to be the harbingers of foul weather. Nobody knows precisely of her fate. It could be that she capsized while her sails were up in full race mode, or she smashed apart on uncharted land. Whatever her end, she is mourned by locals and family members of the crew who were said to habitually make the climb up to the lantern ruin of Portland Headlight to keep vigil should she one day return, which she did, in a way. Just a few months later, a fisherman working at Freeport Harbor was suddenly swathed in fog, and he was undeterred, however, continuing with his duties. But then he was shocked to a standstill. Suddenly, a sailing ship with a full mast emerged from the cloaked waters, moving forward despite the fact that there was hardly any wind, and on its side stood the name in bold letters, Dash Freeport. Since then, the phantom vessel has been seen sailing all over Casco Bay, off the coast of Freeport, near Harpwell Sound, and around the hundreds of islands that lay splayed along Maine's sizable dominion of the Atlantic. Some have described her as having tattered sails. Others recall her in full regalia of old. And in any case, she was seen with a phantom crew standing motionlessly on her deck, face worn down with left expressionless by an eternity of aimless sailing. And no matter her condition, she promptly disappears whenever approached, or just as it seems she might collide with land. Her forlorn tale has been memorialized by both Portland native Henry Wadsworth Longfellow and Harpole native son Robert T. Tristram Coffin. But perhaps the most well-known homage is John Greenleaf Whittier's The Dead Ship of Harpswell. And here's the verse of that. For never comes up the ship to port, however the breeze may be. Just when she nears the waiting shores, she drifts again to sea. No tack of sail, no turn of helm, nor sheer of veering side. Stern fore she drives to sea at night, against the wind and tide. This is Becky and Christian. We are driving home from Maine, and we are reading the haunted Maine lighthouses. Grab the book if you're heading to Maine because it's fun, and travel safely. I've got a little bit more on the Portland Lighthouse I'll be reading to you, and we'll start it with the next video.